halfway through. So, how you doing? Hey everybody, we've reached the halfway point, and I know it seems like we just began, but as I said, we're working fast this semester. First, let's talk about things we had going on last week. The Aaron Reich essay. Most people, when they read that, go, well, duh, because most people who go to UT tend to have some awareness that the world sucks being poor. Hopefully that's the case. I'd like to think that having a good reaction to reality and not being shocked by these kind of things is a healthy outlook for the world. But if we were to only boil down Aaron Reich to, it sucks to be poor, we're not really getting the true monument of her impact. What she's saying is that particularly for women entering the workplace, it's an impossible situation, and it's not just it sucks to be poor, it's a situation you cannot work your way out of without help. And it's worse for women than it is for men because women tend to get funneled into certain jobs. Granted, this is only a quarter of her argument since this is from a much longer piece, but thinking about the specificity of the type of argument she's making. If she just said, it sucks to be poor, half people wouldn't listen, and the other half of the people would go, well, yeah. So, while I want you to take a lot of things from Aaron Reich, thinking about how she focuses on a specific angle of the problem is a big one. As far as the Zirin thing, branding is obviously something that athletes have to think of, and it's something that celebrities have to think of. But I would argue that branding is a conversation that everybody should be having because we're living in a world of social media. Social media is putting a presentation of yourself out there. And I don't care what privacy filters you have. If you're putting something online, or with access to online, anyone will be able to find it with a little bit of digging. So, curate the stuff you put online. Don't just throw things out there thinking that, oh, it won't matter. Everything you do is about presenting yourself. And yeah, it's exhausting to think that way, but it's a way we have to think. Because one of the things that people do is they tend to want to tie everything into a narrative that explains how the world works. It's something we'll get into when we talk about cognitive biases, because there is definitely a human bias towards narration, making our lives seem to fit stories to the point where we will modify our perceptions of the world to fit the story we're telling. We'll get to that later. Just want to give you two examples here. In the winter, I wear boots when it's snowing because I don't want to fall down and hurt myself. Yeah, now that I'm 123 years old, it's that much more important, but I've worn boots ever since I've arrived in Ohio for my first winter, back when it used to be cold. One time on a student evaluation, someone wrote that I was trying too hard to be hip by wearing work boots. It's like, it's snowing outside. There's ice everywhere. What are you going to wear? Ballet slippers? But even though I had no intention of branding myself with my choice of footwear, it was clear that was how it was being read. So it would be silly of me not to recognize that fact. Secondly, I mentioned that I'm a musician. I was in a cover band for a while, and after the first show, the rest of the band came to talk to me and told me that by wearing a button-up shirt, I was outdressing the rest of the band and didn't look like I belonged. And I was told that I had to come wearing jeans and a black t-shirt the next time. Now, I thought we were just a bar band, and I didn't think we were going out of our way to present ourselves as any particular type of image. But obviously, even though the rest of the band would have balked at a conversation about band uniforms, it was obvious that they thought band members had to be a certain way. Branding is everywhere. It's something that everyone is complicit in at some degree or another, whether you think you're branding yourself or not. Your choice of shirt, your choice of haircut, hairstyling, whether you put product in your hair this day is going to be read and interpreted by someone for some way. If you get nothing else from Zorin, and I hope you do get a lot more out of it, the idea that branding is everywhere, omnipresent, is something that you should really keep in mind. And for our purposes, if we're learning how to analyze things, and that's what writing essays is, analyzing stuff, coming up with a position in a debate, then the fact that things get read this way means that we have an instant in. It's not reading too much in. Everybody reads stuff into everything. We do that. Things are open to interpretation, and there are prevailing interpretations, like the students who thought I was trying hard because I wore boots because I didn't want to fall down and die on ice. The other bit of work was the punks of yesterday and today. Now, if you've already seen the video on that one, if you haven't, please watch it. I can't remember exactly where I put it. But the punks of yesterday and today is not a good essay. It sucks. It's not the worst essay I've ever had. The worst essay I ever had the thesis that the Catholic Church is the mother of homosexuality and should be banned. I have no idea what that argument was about. The punks yesterday and today really doesn't have an argument. And the crux of my video is, it basically is like, punks have changed. Well, duh. Is that an argument? So, when I looked at your responses, apart from the fact that a number of people were not using the document evaluation form, and if they weren't following the directions which ask for a paragraph per answer and specific examples from the essay, trust me, if you do that, you're going to get more out of the exercise. If you just write, looks good, I'm going to say he didn't read it or pay any attention. Lots of people say it did do everything it needed to do. And you look at that opening question on the document evaluation form, and if you don't read the actual essay, you'd think that most people thought it was a great essay. It sucks. Come on. Now, I don't know why people think it was a good essay, but if your take was different than mine, you need to pay particular attention to my reading of that essay in that video and in the annotated version I've posted. To double check to make sure I posted that. And figure out why your approach was different than mine, why your judgment was different than mine, and figure out what you need to change about your judgment. I'm not saying I'm better than everyone in these things, but I'm a professional of this, and my judgment is closer to how you're going to be judged in the world. So, figure out what you need to change about your judgment and apply that, because once you get if you don't get the standards, you're not going to be able to meet the standards. You got to get the standards down pat. That was why we did the two things arranging essays, to start to work our way there, and it's something I want you to keep in mind as we go through the sample student essays. Now, I've got 3 things about this coming up week. 1, so far I've had one person schedule a revision conference. And I thought I would get a lot more, because I thought that there would be a lot more people who were not quite so happy with their profile essay grades. We don't have a lot of time here. So if you want to revise something, you're going to need to set up a conference. Send me a message via Remind letting me know a couple times you're available. I'll get back to you, schedule one. We will go to Blackboard, collaborate. We can video chat that way if you just want to talk. My face will be up there because I'm using the web camera. I think you can even call in using your phone if you don't want to log into Blackboard. It will give you a number. But if you're going to be doing a revision of something, don't wait, because we only have 3 weeks, and I think there's only 2 weeks more where you can revise stuff. Secondly, the technology essay is Wednesday work. It's when it's due. I will do everything I can to get it back to you as soon as humanly possible. If for no other reason than I start grading AP essay exams on Friday, and I'm going to be fairly busy with those, I want to get these back to you as well, because you don't have a lot of time to revise them, and the sooner you get them back, the sooner you can start working on them. With any of the major essays, you can revise them as much as you want to, and up until the deadline. Don't wait on that, though. The third thing is, I know we're just turning in the ethics essay on Wednesday, but we have to start, I know we're just turning in the technology essay on Wednesday, but we're going to start working on the next one because we just don't have any time in here, and it's the ethics essay. There are videos about it in the Wednesday work file. It is spelled out in the major assignment sheet. It's an essay where you're supposed to analyze the ethics of a specific situation of your choosing. If you want to run your topic ideas past me, Remind is great for that. But it is an analysis of ethics. The point of the essay is I want you to practice using an intellectual framework of some sort to analyze something. And ethics is the intellectual framework which you're going to use for this essay. Now, something that happens a lot, even though I warn people about it, is I get all kinds of people who write the ethics essay and don't use a single source about ethics. That's not a great idea. But you at least have to use the language of ethics, which are things I talk about not only the ethics essay video, but in the video specifically about ethics that you're going to watch for Wednesday work. I also have a glossary of ethical terms in the Wednesday work folder. It's one that was actually written for elementary school people, I believe. Pre-college at any rate. So using at least some of those terms, at least using the terms I use in the video, is going to be one of the things you gotta do if you want to get a good grade. And I think that's basically all I got. So our time is short. Don't fall behind on something. Let me know if you want to run ethics essay ideas past me. Let me know if you want to set up a revision conference. We have pre-writing for the ethics essay. Yes, it is a completely different method of pre-writing than the past two. It's covered in the video for the ethics essay pre-writing. And if you have any questions, let me know. Hit me up via Remind. Have a great week. If you need me, talk to me. Otherwise, talk to you soon.